Hi, buddy. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Monday, October 9th, 2023. Just to give you a quick update on the markets, you wouldn't know there's another war going on. The stock market is up 150 or so points, and everything appears to be fine. Another thing that's also spiking is the price of oil. Last I checked, it's up about 4%. So the markets, for whatever reason, are looking at this recent development with an active war unfolding in Israel as stock market positive. Anybody's guess as to why. I believe defense stocks are obviously way up today as well. Another thing that's up today, doing really well, is gold and silver. A spot price of gold is up about $21, $22. Silver's also up nicely. I saw an article this morning on Reuters, and it's entitled "Attack on Israel Boosts Appeal of Gold Safe Haven Assets." And it says, this is on New York, and this is an article from yesterday. The violence in Israel that erupted this weekend is prompting a move into safe haven assets as investors closely watch events in the Middle East to gauge the geopolitical risks to the markets. And it says it seems Wall Street has a new geopolitical risk after Israel declared war with Hamas, said Edward Moya, senior market analyst at Awanda in New York. Analysts were focused on the impact on energy prices as they tried to assess the ripple effects. Oil prices jumped more than $4 a barrel in early Asian trade on Monday. It says whether this is a massive market moment or not depends on how long it lasts and whether others are sucked into the conflict, said Brian Jacobson, chief economist at Annex Wealth Management, discussing the situation in Israel. So, gold and silver, we've talked about this, I know on Jeremiah's channel many times. These are safe haven assets, and people flock to, for the most part, silver and gold in times of turmoil. You don't need to wait for an event like this or another war to get your gold and silver and to understand the value in holding those assets. I prefer, as opposed to trading paper, gold and silver, I prefer to hold the physical asset. And for example, you see behind me, I have some of these 10-ounce silver bars. These are Scottsdale stackers. I really do like these. They're 10 ounces. Sorry if it's not focusing there, guys. They're beautiful bars. That's 10 ounces of silver. So look, everybody has to do what works for them. I'm not giving anybody financial advice. I'm not telling you to go out and buy anything. I'm just telling you this is something that I do to protect myself. And again, these prices rally when something bad happens. So why not think about, buying this stuff up when the prices are on a downward trend, not when they're on an upward trend. But from my perspective, there's never a bad time to acquire this stuff. Again, you can look at silver bars as an alternative. You can look at silver rounds, and gold goes for gold as well. You can look at sovereign mint coins like the Silver Eagles. So it's a process you want to educate yourself on. And again, from my perspective, there's no wrong way to acquire physical silver. Just start doing it if you believe it's something that works into your game plan. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys to give me some comments below as to whether this is a little bit better lighting setup. Here in my office where I'm filming, I have an entire wall of almost ceiling to floor windows, and it's really hard to get the light right. So I did read some of the comments over the weekend, and you guys please let me know if this is any better. I'll continue to work on tweaking it so it's more palatable for you guys to watch. Okay, another article that plays into the theme from the last couple of days, which I think is really important. This is out of Markets Insider. dated October 8th of 2023. And the article is entitled "Rising Corporate Bankruptcies and Debt Defaults Are Another Headwind for the Economy, Experts Warn." And this article goes on to say there is a wave of corporate defaults and bankruptcies that could be coming as high interest rates batter United States, U.S. companies. Experts warn it could raise the odds of a recession as high interest rates take their toll on businesses and consumers alike. 459 companies have filed for bankruptcy as of the end of August, according to S&P Global. That number already surpasses the total number of bankruptcy filings recorded in both 2021 and 2022. It says it's not just the United States either. Defaults on corporate debt have been rising globally, a sign that higher interest rates around the world are starting to bite as central banks keep up the fight against inflation. There were 107 corporate debt defaults globally in August, the highest monthly total since 2009, a separate S&P Global report found. Charles Schwab director and fixed income strategist Colin Martin estimates that borrowing costs for some firms doubled or nearly tripled in 2023 compared to previous years, taking a heavy toll on corporate balance sheets. This is illustrating the rising costs for companies. Effective yields for below investment grade corporate debt have soared to 9% this month, according to the ICE B of A U.S. High Yield Index. The yield on the 10-year U.S. Treasury, meanwhile, jumped above 4.8% Friday, back above the highest level in over 16 years. That's incredible. By the way, the bond markets are closed today for the holiday. The article goes on to say, quote, "When corporations are managing their balance sheets and looking to issue or refinance debt, they have to issue debt with significantly higher yields than what they've seen over the past number of years. And that is a big hit to their earnings. It's more interest they have to pay, which can affect their corporation's profits in an environment where revenues are already slower, according to this Martin. He says it's especially tough for so-called zombie firms, which are companies that don't have the cash on hand to service their debt. Many zombie companies manage to survive in the ultra low rate and interest rate environment when the cost of borrowing was close to zero and firms could keep rolling over and refinancing their debt with relative ease. That's not as easy now when you have rates that are going up. It's harder to refinance that debt, and if you do it, you're obviously paying more to service that debt. The article goes on to talk about recession fears. Total U.S. bankruptcies and debt defaults are likely to surge into 2024, Martin said. The U.S. could see defaults and bankruptcies peak sometime by the end of the first quarter of 2024. That's according to Charles Schwab estimates. And this is the key part I wanted to bring to your attention from this article. It says, and that rise of corporate defaults and bankruptcies between now and then adds to the list of headwinds that could knock the U.S. economy into a recession. Firms struggling through bankruptcy or with heavy debt burdens could slash their workforces as they try to go back to financial health. It's also a negative for asset prices, especially for high yield bonds and bank loans, which could bleed over into pain for stock prices as well. And the key to that statement there is that they could slash their workforces to try to get back to financial health. And we discussed this in the prior couple of prior shows regarding, what are you going to do to protect yourself when these corporations start reducing their workforces? What that means is layoffs are coming. And from my perspective, layoffs are going to be coming in massive amounts, accelerating greatly into 2024. So we talked about this. If you have the ability to start your own business, now's the time to give it some serious consideration. Behind me, I set these up here. Those are stacks of corporate books. And those are companies that I have formed for clients. It's just a sampling of clients that have come and started their own businesses, whether it's real estate, whether it's property management, whether it is some kind of a construction business, or if you're a contractor. I have set up hundreds of different types of businesses over the years for clients. And some of them are very successful, some of them aren't successful. But again, if you don't try, you're not going to know. But what I will tell you is, for these people that took that step and took back their autonomy and tried their best to create their own income stream, many of them now have developed successful businesses over the years, and they're not reliant on an employer that may, in the coming times ahead, decide that they need to shrink their workforces, and all of a sudden you find yourself without a job. So again, what corporate books are, you can see those behind me. A corporate book is just records of your business. If it's a corporation, it contains the articles of incorporation, it contains the minutes of the corporate meetings, it contains the share certificates. With regard to the LLCs, you often hear of the articles of organization, and having an operating agreement which governs the business operations between the members of that entity. So just wanted to have that discussion with you relative to tying back in, starting your own business. We're seeing a lot more coming out in these articles and these news releases about what companies are likely facing in the coming months ahead, as rates continue to rise, as costs to service the debt continue to rise. That impacts these companies' bottom lines. So again, whether you can get a side hustle going, or you can make a new business as your primary source of revenue and income, give it some consideration. Lastly, let's briefly touch on the exercise and trying to maintain good physical conditioning. I think that being healthy, we've talked about the mindset it helps you to create. It also, I believe, helps with a coping mechanism. We're being bombarded every day with more and more negative information, negative news. And from my perspective, when you exercise, you create more mental clarity, and you create the ability to deal with stress better. So please keep that in mind. Start doing a half an hour of walking every day. It doesn't need to be intense physical exercise. It can be, again, half an hour of just normal pace walking. It can be doing some sit-ups every day, doing some push-ups every day. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I talked about yesterday the water. Here's the jug of water I keep next to my desk. So I am actually doing what I'm talking about here. There's a 1 gallon jug of water. For my body weight, I need to be drinking about that much water every day to keep my hydration levels. So I'm not a doctor. You obviously have to go and do your own research on what you require, but stay hydrated, stay healthy. And until the next show, I appreciate you tuning in. It means a lot. I've been looking at all your comments the last few days and over the weekend. It's a bit overwhelming, but I'm doing my best. And I obviously welcome any suggestions or comments that you guys have. Until probably tomorrow, have a great afternoon and evening. See you later.